Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verses 1 to 10.
Om Athadashamoऽध्यायः Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shruṇu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakamyaya Na me vidussuraganaha Prabhavam namaharshayah Ahamadirhi devanam Maharshinam cha sarvashah Yo mamajamanadim cha Vedti lokamaheshwaram Asammudhas samatyeshu Sarvapapaih pramuchyate Buddhirjnanamassammohah Kshama satyam damashamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavah Bhayam cha bhayameva cha Ahimsa samata tushtihi Tapodanam yasho yashah Bhavanti bhava bhutanam Matta eva prithak vidhaha Maharshayas sapta purve Chatvaro manavastatha Madbhava manasa jataha Yesham loka imah prajaha Etam vibhutim yogam cha Mama yo vetti tattvataha So vikampena yogena Yujyate natra samshayah Aham sarvasya prabhavah Mattas sarvam pravartate Iti matva bhajante mam Buddha bhava samanvitaha Macchitta madgata pranaha Bodhayantah parasparam Kathayantascha mam nityam Tushyanti cha ramanti cha Tesham satata yuktanam Bhajatam priti purvakam Dadami buddhi yogam tam Yena mamupayanti te.
Welcome today to the start of chapter 10, where he's going to tell us how he's going to basically start repeating in a way to make us understand what he has been speaking about so far. I see a lot of new names, so I don't know whether you all are new to the Bhagavad Gita or new to this class. Um, okay, let me just give you a brief introduction of the Bhagavad Gita itself. And as you all know, that it is a conversation between the Lord Sri Krishna and his friend and devotee Arjuna. Now, you may say, here's a conversation that took place 5,000 years ago. जो उनको बोलना है बोलने दो ना, हमको क्या ना लेना ना देना इससे. What are we supposed to do with that? So the first question is, why are we even studying this conversation? Oh, anybody had a conversation, why should we study it? The important thing for us to understand is, think of what that situation is. Here is the great Arjuna, capable of fighting this war, and in fact, the only person capable of winning this war. He has fought already all these greats who are there on the other side and won. He has also fought Shankar Mahadev himself. And that battle went, Shankar was so pleased with him that the battle stopped. This is the caliber of the great Arjuna. This is his capacity. This is his ability to do something. But when he comes to that crucial battle of his own life, the one that really matters, he starts crying on the battlefield. The great Arjuna crying on the battlefield. Okay, suppose we sent him to a philosophy class and he started crying, mujhe kuch samajh mein nahi aa raha. We can understand. But Arjuna on a battlefield, where he's already fought the great Shankar Mahadev. He has already fought all these people. As you know, all of you who are familiar with the story, he's already done all this. To him, it should be like a challenge that he looks forward to, which he has been. Collapse. Now, the important thing for us to understand is if Arjuna could collapse, we can too. It's only a question of time. So if you want to avoid the collapse, which is what Vedanta talks about, then learn the facts of it, which is what Krishna is telling Arjuna right now. If you are a Vedantin, if your intellect works, you will attempt not to solve problems. You will always attempt to prevent problems. Like I know someone who used to say, absence of body is better than presence of mind. The question of presence of mind comes only when your body is in the wrong place in the first place. So if you are not there, you don't have to worry about how to deal with that situation. You don't have to come into debts and then figure out how to deal with finance. You don't have to have a breaking relationship and then figure out how to deal with the relationship. You don't have to solve problems. Prevent them. And this education, which was given to Arjuna on the battlefield, helps us learn that. Because Arjuna is in a bad state. He has to pick himself up from where he has fallen. But we are not in such a bad state. Hopefully, we can learn this knowledge before that bad state comes. And if for anyone it is a little bit of a difficult situation they are in, then it's certainly not going to be as bad as what Arjuna's was. So definitely it will take us out of it and prevent future ones. So that's why we even study the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, we're devoted to the Lord and all that is very nice, of course. But the main reason is always education. What can we learn? And what he teaches us is how to live our lives so that we are productive, we are successful, everybody around us benefits by us. And everything about our life should be perfect, wonderful. That's where we are trying to head. So let's see now in this chapter, what is he talking to us about? What's he going to talk to us about? We can broadly divide this chapter 10, into 4 subtopics. This division has been done by Swami Parthasarathi, which is a great help and boon to people who are serious students of the Gita, because it helps us follow the line of thought and explain what exactly is he talking about. So he begins with saying, knowing the supreme nature of that transcendental reality, the wise work towards it. Now this sounds like, oh, ab ye kya hai? What it means is that the first step of life is to know where are you taking your life to. What are you trying to do with your life? What is the point? What is the purpose? This is a question that we all have to answer for ourselves. As far as this question is concerned, you're on your own. You will have to decide and make your commitment to what your life is supposed to be for. So what he's telling us is, there is something the wise have understood, sensible people before us, and therefore have attempted a particular goal. What is that goal and why should we attain it? We will, of course, be studying it now. Then he talks about how that Brahman is all pervading. It is there everywhere. The truth, the reality, God, Brahman, Atman, Vishnu, Shiva, Allah, Father in heaven, whatever you choose to call it, whatever you do call it, please understand that we don't know it. We don't know what is that thing. We may call it by a million names. What is it? He's going to tell us. Where is that ultimate truth? Where is that ultimate reality? And how does one go about knowing it? Because once you have a goal, you will have to have a methodology. Then he starts telling us, very interestingly, all the glories of that ultimate reality explained analytically. You may say, why is he telling us that? That truth, that reality, that God, whatever you choose to call it, is all pervading. And he shows us in each thing how it is there. Now you may say, so what is that to do with me? Whatever your goal is, you have to be focused on that goal. If every day you change your goal or you forget about your goal and you take decisions not in accordance to your goal, you're never going to reach it. So if your goal is that supreme reality, then you will learn to see that everywhere at all times. Everything has to remind us of what we are trying to do. And then comes the brilliant part of this chapter, the last few verses, where he tells us, whatever you see, whatever you think, whatever you believe about that God, know that it is all incomplete. It's all incomplete. We are all of us fighting that my God is like that and your God is like that. But actually, every prophet told us, whatever you think, your thinking of that is incomplete. It doesn't reach up to that level. So, this is the chapter in brief. Now, let us study it verse by verse. Okay, so, what we do in this class is we will read the verse, we will translate it from the Sanskrit, and then we will study what that particular verse means. Many of you who are new to the class will definitely ask the question, how long is this class going to go on for? The class will go on till we understand this chapter. There is no end date over here, but we will concentrate on it, we will pay our attention to it, and we will understand it. And we will continue studying it until we understand it. So we are going to go slowly, we are going to go analytically, and we are going to understand that this is about our life. It's not about giving an exam. This is about, did I improve the quality of my life? With the right knowledge, of course. You can improve the quality of your life, go to the pub, take a drink, and you will feel like my quality has got very good. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about through knowledge, through understanding life, were you able to improve? in the right way. So that means today is good, tomorrow is good, and you will reach the ultimate reality. That's the way we have to live our life. How do I get access, Krishna? How do you get access to the previous chapters? They're all there online. But as of now, don't worry about them. They're all there. Where are they? It's on YouTube. And you can get them. But let's just concentrate at the moment on this chapter. Because if you understand any one chapter of the Gita, you're good. So you don't need to worry about the rest. So let's start. Anybody has any preliminary questions just in terms of what we are doing? Then okay. You're all good, right? So we welcome questions in this class, but we also welcome discipline. So all questions have to be pertaining to the point that is currently on. We can't just say Gita class, so anything we ask, not like that. Only pertaining to the point that is currently on. If you have a general question ever during the course of the study, you're welcome to ask it at the beginning of the class so that we're not interrupting the flow of thought. So we're going to study in a disciplined manner. We are going to, as a consequence of it, improve our lives in some way. All right. So let's then get into the text itself, unless anybody. Where can you get the Bhagavad Gita in English? You can buy it online by using Swami Parthasarthi's commentary. So you can get that online. Yeah, so what you're seeing on the screen in front of you is the Bhagavad Gita with the translation by Swami Parthasarthi. It would be better if everybody in the class had the same translation and the same commentary, because then we are all on the same page. So you can buy it online. Bharat can help you with that. If you're in Mumbai and you're somewhere in your car, then you can also get it from Bharat. Okay, so anyone else has anything pertaining to this thing? You're welcome, Pooja. Okay, so all right, so then let's go to verse 1. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrunu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshami hita kamyaya Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrunu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshami hita kamyaya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the blessed Lord said, Bhuya eva mahabaho shrunume paramam vachaha. Bhuya, again, O Mahabaho, O strong arm. He's referring to Arjuna because Arjuna is a strong arm, right? Mahabaho. Imagine what all battles he's capable of fighting. So he calls him Mahabaho. That him with this Mahatbaho with the big arms. Bhuya. Bhuya means again. Again, O Mahabaho, Shrunume paramam vachaha. Shrunu, listen, imperative form. Listen to my paramam vachaha. Listen to my supreme word. Paramam, supreme, vachaha, word. Listen to my supreme word. Why supreme word? Supreme word because what can be more important to a human being than the knowledge of his own life? That's why it's supreme, because he's explaining what is our life all about. So that's why it is the supreme word. Yatteham priyamanaya, which aham, te, I, to you, priyamanaya, gives you the qualities. This word gives you the first quality, gives you the quality of a good student. Priyamana means Priyamanaha. What is the nature of a good student? One who finds it delightful to listen to this. One who finds the subject dear to him. If you say, oh, how boring, I don't want to learn about my life, then how are you going to learn anything? So the first quality of a student is the love the student has for the subject, for the teachings, who is delighted to hear. So, in the end of the Gita, Sanjaya says, I'd like to hear it again and again, this wonderful dialogue. It makes my hair stand on end. I want to hear it again and again. So a student, somebody who is attuned to these ideas, who is able to relate to these ideas, finds great delight in listening to them. So that is a quality of a student. Then the other quality which is indicated in this word, in this verse, is the word Mahabahu. Mahabahu, strong arm. That means, yes, you are delighted, which is a very good thing. That is step one. But are you willing to face the challenges? Are you willing to do the hard work? Are you willing to be, are you willing to be the Mahabahu? Are you willing to be that strong one who takes it up, studies it, and achieves it? He uses the word Mahabahu because it's applicable to Arjuna. It's applicable to Arjuna because Arjuna is a man of action. He will do things, he will attain things. He's not the sort who will just say, oh, very nice, and let's all go home. That is not the quality of a good student. A good student is one who makes the commitment to it. So you are in a good position to make that commitment. So suppose he's one dilapidated soul like that, he can hardly move and he can hardly talk and he can hardly think. Then how is he going to apply himself to these mighty ideas? So here's a person who's physically perfect, who's capable of achievement. And such a person is delighted to hear this. So when you have these two qualities, the interest, the love for the subject, and the capacity to function in it, do what is necessary. Vakshami, I will tell you this. Hita kamiya. For your hit, for your well-being. Why does a teacher speak? What need has the teacher to speak? No teacher worth their salt has anything to gain from a student. Why does Krishna need to speak? What are we going to give him? Are we going to give him something physically? He doesn't need it from us. Are we going to give him something emotionally? He is self-sufficient. He doesn't need us to say, I love you, and then he feels comfortable. No, doesn't need anything emotionally from us. Does he need intellectually something from us? Of course not. He has the full wisdom. Then why does a teacher teach? What is the whole point of it? What does the person do it? There's really no explanation for that. So therefore he gives us a sort of what should I say? Some explanation. What is the explanation? Just think of it like that. That you're walking on the street and someone strips, and your hand almost instinctively goes to hold that person, isn't it? Now, why did you do that? There was no thought, there was no intention, there was no motive, and yet instinctively you did it. The wise people towards us are like that. There's no hope, there is no intention, there is no motive. They do it for us, just for us. They have no other wish. There's nothing to get from this whole thing. Now, how's going to express that? He said, Hita kamya, wishing your welfare, wishing the welfare. But even that is a borrowed term because they're not actually wishing our welfare. Suppose you take the knowledge and you don't improve your life. Then the teacher will not sit down and cry, oh, I taught that person so much and he didn't improve his life. There's no such thing. Whatever the teacher can do to the best of his ability, he will do. And all this action will be beneficial to the people. So he says, But how do we take benefit of that? We must have the two qualities. We must be delighted to hear it, and we must be Mahabaho. Not like, oh, not like that. Mahabaho. Are you getting down to what needs to be done? So the teacher has no axe to grind whatsoever. The teacher will repeat 1,000,000 times the same thing. But for whom? For a student who is delighted to hear. This is an important thing because some people love to repeat and repeat and repeat. They are least interested in what the other person is. Have you seen people who are get involved in the Gita or in any philosophy? And oh, Bapre, the amount of lectures they will give. Why? Because they have a need to speak. But Krishna has no need to speak. In fact, in his whole life, he spoke about these truths only twice. Once here in the Bhagavad Gita, and once when he spoke to Uddhav. Only twice he spoke in his whole life. Here is the greatest master who has all the knowledge, but nobody wanted to hear it, so he never spoke. But in this case, Arjuna wanted to hear. He wanted to hear means the situation forced him to hear. He was breaking down. So he told him. And Uddhava really wanted to hear. He had no situation, but he wanted to hear. So he told him. And he's repeating over and over and over and over again for us. And he'll keep doing it until we are delighted to hear what he has to say. So, Bhuya Eva. Again.
Jankita, who's Uddhava?
Yeah, go ahead, Nai.
Who's Uddhava?
Uddhava is a friend of Krishna's. And, this Gita is supposed to, Bhagavad Gita, which we're studying over here, is supposed to be for the average person. Everybody can study the Gita. It is something that is useful to everybody. And Uddhav Gita is a slightly higher version in the sense that is addressed to a sannyasi. This is addressed to the average person who wants to grow spiritually. That is addressed to a person who is already developed. So that talks from the perspective of sannyasa. And this talks from the perspective of our daily life. So Uddhava was a more developed soul. So that's a higher Gita. I can't say higher or lower. That would not be fair. But addressed to different types of people.
What is the name of the text, Jankiti?
Uddhava Gita.
Okay.
Everybody is interested in Uddhava Gita. Please focus. Chapter 10. Only chapter 10 you worry about now. You can only see one thing in this world. Now everybody will start going to get Uddhava Gita. Please don't focus on only one thing. Chapter 10 is all we can see. So, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Blessed Lord said, Bhuya eva Mahabaho. Listen again, O Mahabaho. Shrunu me paramam vacha. Shrunu, listen. Me paramam vacha. Listen to my supreme word. What is the supreme word? An explanation of what is that supreme truth, that supreme reality. What can be more important to a human being's life than an understanding of life itself? Yatteham priyamana. Te aham te. I to you, yet that. I to you that. Priyamanaya. What kind of person are you? Priyamanaha. You are somebody who is delighted to listen to this. Vakshami. I will speak. Listen. I will speak. Hitakamyaya. For your well-being. So that your life will be improved. Your life will be benefited. Wishing just the welfare. Wishing your welfare, I will tell you this thing. Verse 2. Name vidusturaganaha prabhavam nama harshayaha ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah Name vidusturaganaha prabhavam nama harshayaha ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah Name vidu suraganaha. Suraganaha. Gana is the group, is the whole collection. Sura. Sura is the other gods. You have heard the word Asura, right? Asura means the demons. So Sura is the god. In Sanskrit, when you add the word to anything, it means not that. So Sura means the gods. The gods means the multitude of gods. Now, what are these multitude of gods? Why do we have so many gods? A lot of people believe that this literature prescribes many gods. This literature does not prescribe many gods. It's only one God. The same God for everybody. There's no different gods for different people. There's only one God. Then what are these gods that he's referring to? You know, when you are interested in your spiritual life, or whatever in this world you're interested in, okay, let us say, what is his name? Leila is interested in Majnu. Okay, so she has a deep interest in Majnu. So what happens? Or Majnu has a deep interest in Leila. So what happens when that happens? Think about it carefully. In fact, the text will also tell. Where does Leila and where do Leila and Majnu see each other? We see them all. In every girl, Majnu will see Leila. In every boy, Leila will see Majnu. In every girl, Romeo will see Juliet. In every boy, Juliet will see Romeo. Whatever you're interested in, you will see it all the time. If you're interested in money, you'll see money everywhere. So even if you come to a Bhagavad Gita class, you will look around and say, oh, these people look rich or they look poor. They're from, what is it? Indians love this. Good families. Good families. So everywhere you go, you see only money. Even if you want to get your child married to somebody, you'll say, how much money does he have? If you go to the club, you'll say, how much money does he have? Because that's what you're interested in. You'll see it all the time. If you're interested in, I don't know, whatever in the world you're interested in, you'll see it all the time. Suppose you're interested in your daughter getting married. Then you could go anywhere and all you will see is potential husbands for this, potential son-in-laws or not potential son-in-law. That's the only two things you can see. One other thing you might see, potential mother-in-law, is how is the mother of the son. But everything you will see from that angle alone. So the Indian mind was always interested in the Lord. That is why our country is supposed to be Devabhumi. It's supposed to be a country where the whole world, even till today, you know, if in US or anywhere you ask UK, you want to understand about spirituality, their first thought will be India. Even today, India is supposed to be the spiritual, whatever, cradle. So why is that? Because we had some very wise rishis in the past. We had many wise rishis in the past. These people understood that the whole point of human existence is the re-merger with that supreme reality. Now, when people tell people that you must think of God, people say, I'm so busy, how can I think of God now? I have my studies, I've got my exams, I've got my work, I have to earn money, my children are not well, I have to look after them, my husband has irregular timings, I have to keep adjusting to his timings. There's so many problems in this world. Where am I going to think of time to think of God? So the rishis of the past came up with this brilliant idea. They said, okay, it's very difficult to tell the human mind to go to God. So what we will do is, wherever the human mind does go, we will put a God there. So where does the human mind go? It goes to wealth. We call it Lakshmi. Where does it go? It goes to knowledge. We call it Saraswati. Where does it go? It goes to strength. We call it Hanuman. What did that early man see? He saw lightning and thunder. They called it Indra. He saw rains. He saw the sea, the waters. Everything that he saw was divinized. Every aspect. So, what are these gods? They are nothing but manifestations of that ultimate reality in everything in this world. So, therefore, you have multifarious gods. In India, everything is a god. The tree is a god. Even diseases are god. There is Devi Ai here. Even diseases are god. Every street corner there's a temple. A child is born. A child is conceived. There's a prayer. Child is born. It says the first word. Prayer. Everything prayer. Goes to school. Prayer. You eat your lunch. Prayer. You eat your dinner. Prayer. Everything reminds you of God. You have a bath. Pray. Everything reminds you of God. You get married. It's a prayer. Everything. Whatever the human mind could think of, they went and placed a God there. So wives think of their husbands a lot. So they made the husband Pati Parmeshwar. Everything is not just the husband, everything is Parmeshwar. Then the husband may think of the wife, so she is Gruha Lakshmi. Everything the Indian mind looked at with an attitude of service, with an attitude of devotion, with an attitude of worship. And thus, through the ages, this whole country became a spiritual bedrock. So these gods are not like there are so many gods. It's the one God. But all these gods are the manifestation of that one God. So these gods are said to live in heaven. And they are supposed to be having a very good time in heaven. And this is just an expression of the fact that the more your mind goes to God, the more pleasure there is for you. So you can fall from heaven, right? What does that mean? Your mind went away. You enjoyed a little bit and came right back because you were not established in that idea. So there are different heavens also. So it's all, if you want to understand mythology, you have to come to the Thursday class. But as far as this is concerned, the gods represent all the manifestations. So he says, Name vidu suragana, the host of gods do not know me. Do not know Prabhavam, do not know my origin. Na Maharshaya. Who are the Maharshis? The Maharshis are those who wrote, who were the Drishtas, the seers of the Vedas. They are supposed to be the highest intellectuals. They don't know me. Aham Adi Devanam Maharshinam Sarvasha. No manifestation knows me, not even the highest intellectuals know me. They don't know where I have come from. Why? Because Aham Adi, I am the beginning of the Devas and the Maharshi. Isn't that beautiful? What he's saying is that the truth, the reality is from where every manifestation has come, right from every object of this world, right up to the highest a human being knows, which is the intellect. So the whole thing, objects and beings, all of it have come from their ultimate reality, and therefore nobody can know the ultimate reality. Because it is the Adi, it is the beginning. How do we understand that? Think of it like this. There is a torch. That torch can be lit on anything. You can point the torch to anything, and whatever you do point it to, it will light up that thing. You see that, right? But there is one thing in this world that this torch can never light, and that is its own batteries. You can't take out the batteries and go and see, put it in front of the torch to see it. Can't be done. So the batteries can say, I am the Adi, I am the beginning of that light. Hence, that light can never light you. So, Aham hi Adi Devanam Maharshinam cha Sarvasha. I am the Adi. I am the beginning. I am that which enlivens them into action. So you can't know it. You can't know it through this world of manifestations, and you cannot know it through your intellect. Many people make that mistake on the spiritual path where they try to use their intellect to understand God. Can't be done. Why not? Because that which enlivens or empowers your intellect is itself the self. In other words, God is the subject, not the object of perception. The ultimate subject within us is God. And hence, you can never perceive God, feel God, or think God. You cannot see Him with your eyes, or taste Him with your tongue, or smell Him with your nose, or hear Him with your ears. You can't do that. You can't feel Him as an emotion in the mind. When you say, I have a very divine feeling, this is not God. Not yet. We have a long way to go. And when you say, okay, I understand this, and you feel you're almost there, that your intellect is able to conceive it. No, not yet. Because by very definition, that enlivening factor cannot be known by this body, mind, and mind. I am its beginning. This mystery cannot be solved by Name vidu suraganaha. Vidu, I am not known by suraganaha, the hosts of gods. Prabhavam, what is not known? What is my prabhavam? What is my origin? In other words, what is the mystery of creation? The scientists believe that we can solve the mystery of creation. Philosophy says you can do whatever you want, you will never solve it because the intellect cannot. So, science tells us that how did we all come? So, Darwin was a brilliant thinker and he did amazing work. I mean, hats off to him. Really something like respect worthy, isn't it? That he could actually come up with this notion of evolution. I mean, obviously, he also built his theory on past thinkers. But the fact that he actually could come up with it and say that this is how a human being came. That, we were an amoeba and then we evolved and became the chimps and then became humans. And amazing, fantastic that he could come up with it. So you could say Darwin solved the problem of creation. He did. With all his brilliance, something that maybe we would never have. With all that brilliance, all he did was he shifted the question. That's all that happened. He shifted the question. Okay, so see how this thing works. You ask, where did humans come from? Where did life originate? Okay, so humans came from the chimps came from multicellular came from single cellular. And that's how life came. And it seems very satisfying. But is it? Have we not only shifted the question? Now, instead of saying, where did humans come from? We will now say, where did amoeba come from? Where did that single cellular thing come from? It's only shifted the question. You just took it a few steps back. That's it. So then there's so many theories, right? So there's the prevalent theory of transpermia, where Earth got seeded with these amoeba, these single cellular beings, by comets that came from the outer reaches of the solar system. And say, oh, now I get it. Life started in the outer reaches of solar system, and the comets or whatever, the meteors, they came, they seeded our planet with this life. Oh, now I know where life came from. Do you? Have you not just shifted the question? So how did life start there? Everything we do, or with all our brilliance, we will only shift the question. That's philosophy. Science, of course, will not believe that and will continue to try to solve the mystery. Philosophers say you will not be able because of the base concept that it is the Adi, it is the beginning, and you cannot know. Say, no, of course I know the beginning. The beginning was the Big Bang. You know the Big Bang? Where all the matter of this universe was so densely packed that you could probably fit it on maybe a teaspoon. So densely packed, all the matter of the universe. And then there was a Big Bang. All of it spread. And then the universe was created. Even if you go all the way back to the Big Bang and say that is how it was created, haven't you still shifted the question? All you did was shift the question a little backwards. That's all you did. Because then naturally you will have to ask the question, so where did all that dense matter come from? All you do is that, and you will do no better. And say, no, that was because come up with another theory, come up with string theory. And does that answer the question? No, it doesn't. No matter what you do, you only shift it back. That's what philosophy is. So that's what he's saying in this verse. Name vidusuraganaha, I am not known by the gods, I am not known by the maharshis. This mystery of creation cannot be solved. Why? Because I am the Adi. I am the beginning. I am the enlivening force behind it all. I am the very subject of your perception. Your perception can never know me. Your feelings can never know me. And not all the intellect in the world can ever know me because I'm the subject. I am not something you know. I am that in you which knows. That's what the Kena Upanishad says. Tadeva Brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasati. That alone is Brahman, not what you champions worship here. This is a slightly liberal translation, not exactly what it says. That eva Brahma, that itself is Brahman. Not what is edam yadidam upasati. What you are doing upasana of, that is not Brahman. So what is that thing? That which makes the eye see. That which makes the nose smell. That which makes your tongue taste. That which allows your mind to move. That which makes your intellect conceive something. That's nedam yadidam upasate, not what you people worship here. So should we not worship some image? That's not what it's saying. What it's saying is you will be using some image. It doesn't matter what image you use. You may use a Christ, a crescent, or an Om. You may choose to use a word symbol. You may choose to use nature. You will use some symbol. You may use a word, like we use like Atman or Brahman or God. We're using a word. They're all symbols. We don't know what that thing is. And however we refer to it, through a sight, through a sound, through a word, they're all symbols. And all symbols are equally applicable. You can use any symbol of your choice because you will have to refer to it in some way, right? So you can use whatever inspires you. But know that this is a symbol. That's the important. Okay, so what did this verse tell us? First verse says, I'm going to explain this all to you again. Okay, why am I going to tell you all this again? Because you're interested in listening. And because you're a Mahabahu, because you're going to do something after listening. You're not just going to sit there and say, oh, this is so nice, so nice, so nice. And then that's the end of the matter. One very funny thing that Rajneesh is reported to have said is he said, in other countries, whenever their prophets came, they went and killed them. In India, we were much subtler. We did not kill our prophets. We didn't give them poison. We didn't crucify them. We didn't do any such thing. Now, what did we do? We praised them and did nothing about the message, which is exactly what happens. Oh, so good, and do nothing about the message. It's like, you go to the doctor says, this is your illness, this is your medication, here is your prescription, and we say, ऐसा डॉक्टर तो मैंने देखा ही नहीं है, and then do nothing about that prescription. So that is what is not going to help us. So we are like that. Very good. But काम करो, महाबाहो. Get up and let's see some action here. So he says, oh Mahabaho, I will tell you because you're delighted. You're a person who will, and no, take action, which Arjuna, of course, did. He took action. He took the message and took action on it. And why am I telling you this? Only for your well-being. A teacher has nothing to gain. What is that message? That God which you are seeing, that self which you are seeing, it is the subject of your experiences, not the object of your experience. Therefore, you're never going to know it. Just as with a torch, you can see anything in the world except the batteries that enable that torch to function. Can you do that? You open the torch quickly and you take the batteries out and put it in front of the torch. Can you show? Cannot show. So that which is the subject cannot be an object of perception. Okay.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om.
This is not applicable to self-realized souls and writers of Vedanta, right?
No, it's applicable to everybody. Okay, so actually good question. On one hand, there are people like us who don't know the self, who have not found that truth. We cannot know it because we don't know it. It is the subject. What about those who have realized the self? A Buddha, a Christ, a Krishna, a Muhammad. What about those people? Do they not know the self? They also do not know the self. Why? For the same reason that it is not something that can be known. It is not an object of perception. Even their intellect cannot know it. When they realize that they are not the body, mind, and intellect, what remains is the self. Neither their intellect nor our intellect can ever know the self. The moment you say somebody knows the self or knows God, you make God an object of perception.
And this is something very new. I thought the self-realized souls know
The self-realized souls know that they are Brahman. They cannot know the Brahman as an object of perception. The state of self-realization is where the subject-object relationship breaks down. You're never going to know Brahman. In fact, there's a saying in Zen. It says, if you meet the Buddha on the street, kill him. Shocking, no? You meet the Buddha on the street, kill him. I'm not making this up. It's a Zen saying. What does it mean? It means if ever you consider a symbol to be the reality, get rid of it. Because a symbol is not the reality.
I'm sorry, but what do we work for? I thought we work for the self, but so we work for merging of everything, right? Subject and object. That's what we work for.
We work for the self, yes. We work for the self, we work for the truth, whatever you choose to call it. Remember, it's X. Whatever you choose to call it, it's X. And when you know it, you don't really know it. You find out that you are it. There's nothing to know there.
Okay. You find out that you're okay. Understood.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Yeah, Aditi.
So there is really nothing, even the self-realized soul know after they give up the body?
There is what?
So there is no knowing even after giving up the body?
Yeah. Because it's the subject, right? It's like the dreamer can never know the waker. When the person wakes up, he is the waker. Suppose you are a dreamer. Suppose Aditi is sleeping. Okay, and I come into Aditi's dream, and I dreaming and sleeping and dreaming that she is Kanika. Okay, so I come into Aditi's dream and I say to that Kanika that you are not Kanika, you are actually Aditi. I hope you're getting it, everybody. Aditi is sleeping. In her dream, she dreams she is Kanika, some other person. Okay, and this Kanika is completely different from Aditi. Happens, no? Like suppose in my real world, let's say I'm a married person with 5 children and I don't know, poverty stricken. I can go to sleep and imagine that I am Aishwarya Rai and I'm not married and I have no children and I'm just living a very glamorous life. I can imagine that. So Aditi, forgetting that she's Aditi, when she goes to sleep, believes herself to be Kanika. Completely different person. Possible? Now suppose there is a guru who tells Kanika that don't be involved in whatever Kanika is doing because because there is an Aditi which is the truth. So Kanika says, can I meet Aditi? Can Kanika meet Aditi? She can't. What will happen when Kanika wakes up? She is Aditi. There is no Kanika meeting Aditi. That Aditi became Kanika, Kanika will become Aditi. Except that Aditi never became Kanika. Aditi will stay herself, right? Even though she thinks she is Kanika.
Yes, Janki ji.
Janki ji, Hari Om.
One second, Tinky, Salil wants to say something, I think.
Hari Om Janki ji, I'm not very sure if it does relate to the subject, the topic today, but I've been having this lingering doubt in my mind for quite some time. So, what Vedanta teaches us is that we are the Brahman, which is ever existing, ever blissful. So, then when a body, when we die, what is that which changes? Goes to another body? The soul, is there a difference between the Atman and the Brahman?
Yes, there is, Salil, and you're right. It hasn't anything to do with the current topic, so we can take it up as a general question next time.
Okay.
We will discuss that when you're there next. You can ask it in the class.
All right. Thank you.
Tinky?
Janki ji, so the self-realization, we can't know it, but sometimes it's written we merge with the self, or we realize the self, or the self reveals itself. This is all the same meaning?
Yes, they're all the same meaning because they're all wrong. So it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use any one of them. Because language breaks down, right? Your intellect has broken down. Intellect cannot conceive it. How is language going to express it?
So how should one express it?
It doesn't matter. Use anyway.
Oh, okay. That anyway we can use anything because none of it is right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
M. Shenai, this seems complicated. Can you simplify a bit? Shenai, what is it that is seeming complicated?
Namaskaram. Just the concept that you cannot understand God and then you are expected to worship it or try to achieve it seems a bit disconnecting to me because something which you can never understand. I mean, generally, whether in science or in life, we try to do something which we understand. Like, we know, but when we achieve something. So how do we know whether that we have achieved God or something like that? I mean, people say that they have become transcended the physical boundaries. So how do we know when we don't know?
So self-realization. Self-realization compared to this waking state. We are all awake now. So self-realization compared to our state. Okay. So that self-realization is the 4th state. We currently, when we are awake, are in the 3rd state. When we go to sleep, we are in the 2nd state. And when we go to deep sleep, we are in the 1st state. So we can compare dreaming and waking to waking and self-realization. Shenai goes to sleep. he believes he is Naim, right? Now, how will Naim know Shanaim? Not possible. But what will happen? When Naim is no more means the concept of Naim is no more, what remains is Shanaim. Got it? So how you don't become it, you are already it. Now, how do you work for something you don't know? You go through the known. So that's a different aspect. Is that clear? What you do, we are not talking about. We are talking about what is the concept itself. Because we can't do everything in one class. Nah? So today we're only talking what is the concept. We're not talking how to get there. How to get there, you can't jump from here to there. The steps are going to be easy. But at least we have to understand to be, I may or may not be.
Okay.
That's all that we have to understand at this stage.
Thank you.
Since you had asked a multiple number of questions in your question, I've answered some of them. Every time you come to the stage of explanation, it becomes disappointing. Is it all futile, that our quest is futile? Or is it that the journey itself is the destination? Kalyan, of God as the subject of everything.
Janki ji, you're on mute.
I think Janki ji has, oh yeah, she's joined again.
Yes, something happened. Yes, Manoj, I don't know how much you heard, but anyway, now we have cross-class time also. So does it mean that you can be self? Yes, it means you can only be self. Bharat has an announcement.
Yes, Hari Om everyone. For all the new people, we have a WhatsApp group. The number is on your screen. So please send the message on this number to join that WhatsApp group. You will be updated before each class. Thank you.
Okay. Hari Om.
Thank you, Janki ji.
Hari Om, Janki ji. Thank you.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janki ji. Hari Om.
Thank you so much.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.
Hari Om, thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.